Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about Black Clover episode 93, and it was actually a really kind of hype episode, although it ended a little bit, I guess on a downer, and also, listen, I didn't spoil myself on anything. I just had a gut feeling last time, and that's really, I kind of called it. It just seemed like it was going to go this way. But that being said, I didn't know anything that was going to happen in this episode, and I'm kind of glad because it was really kind of an exciting episode in general. So overall, the Julius versus Licht fight is just really just badass. They're flip-flopping and all over the place. People have finally taken notice of them fighting, and they're just seeing like flashes of light, but like things are really heating up. Julius is basically just like controlling the fight at this point. He's zipping all over the place, doing his like kind of flash steppy kind of business and like kind of instant transmissioning all over the place because of his time magic, and it's just really cool. Licht starts kind of worried about all this because at one point, like really at the end of the last episode, in this one, Julius shatters his light magic, and there's some really cool effects of just like the light reflecting onto Licht's face and him looking super worried. So at this point, everybody's kind of getting aware, especially the people of the capital who are seeing flashing lights going on, and something's up. They all know something's up. But Julius's assistant, I forget his name, the guy with kind of the bowl cut, takes note of it himself and is like, we gotta tell somebody. It's probably Julius, and he's probably fighting. Honestly, he makes a pretty good guess. The Eye of the Midnight Sun's leader, Licht. But obviously, there are like a lot of the Magic Knights are out on the attack for the Eye of the Midnight's hideout. So if he's not there for them to take down, then this is a really big thing. So he alerts all of the Magic Knights, or at least all the higher up Magic Knights, all the captains, vice captains, everybody that needs to know, basically. And they're all to get ready and basically help protect the general population, because they don't know whether this is a full-on attack or whether it's just one person or what's going on, so they gotta be prepared. Which is a fair thing to do because they did get attacked and it was pretty bad. One of their captains got taken out to the point where they had to appoint a new captain. So it was a pretty intense thing, and they're probably better off being prepared than not doing anything and just watching it happen. So everybody knows, and while the Golden Dawn people are like, oh, I wonder where Captain Vengeance is. He's not here anymore, or whatever. Yami basically rushes off and he's like, crap. I had a feeling about this. I'm worried. He really is hoping that he's not right, but his suspicions have basically been right this entire time, just like Julius's. So it's kind of a hard pill to swallow for all of them, knowing that, like, well, for at least Julius and Yami, knowing that they had suspicions, but because they're so close to William Vengeance, they really couldn't, like, act on it entirely. They were hoping that their suspicions were wrong. Unfortunately, they came out to be true. So Yami rushes to the battle zone. Now, something interesting that I don't think that we've ever seen before is Julius's grimoire, and apparently he's so powerful that his grimoire doesn't need a cover. It's just like this like cylinder thing that like the pages keep flipping around and round and round. It kind of looks like a turbine almost, but it's just basically like this giant grimoire that floats above him, and I don't know whether he needs to read from it or what, but like it just floats above him and it's constantly in rotation, and the pages are keep moving. So that's really, really cool, and it kind of shows just how powerful he is. And honestly, I like that. I think it sets him apart. It makes him look way more powerful. Not that you didn't already know that he was super powerful, but it's like this kind of reaffirms that he is way cooler, and this is why he's the Wizard King. Like, if you're gonna be like that, he's got his grimoire that's like this giant freaking book that doesn't have covers, and that's whatever. He is the Wizard King. Now, it's not often that I talk specifically about the animation of Black Clover. I've talked about it during like I think it was the Magic like tournament test thing that they were all deciding who would be the Royal Knights, and that was with I think it was like Yuno versus what's his face? Oh, now that he's not like main focus, I can't remember his name. The one captain. Anyways, like I mentioned it during that, I think. I mentioned it a couple of times, but like this is another instance where the art and animation is so like striking that I just had to bring it up. And it's the moment where like Licht basically realizes that he's being outdone, so he like really steps it up, and his like the colors behind him, the animation basically changes. It turns into like, I'm trying to think of what I can compare it to, but it's like this like kind of psychedelic, like his face gets crazy and all distorted, and it's clear that like it's showing his mindset where it's just like do or die. He's freaking out a little bit, and he basically needs to just do something or else he's gonna lose to Julius. And the animation really expresses this well, because it just like it shows you a very quick glimpse into what kind of like mindset he's in. And when animation can do that, not only just showing like them like up front and in your face just how it is, but then also like shows you specifically just kind of what kind of like inner monologue, even without words, that the character's having with themselves. It really is telling of how good the animation is, and I'm sure that they had their best team on this, I guess, right? So knowing that Julius is basically just like gonna eventually dominate him, he's slowly losing the fight. Basically, he's being outdone in many capacities. Licht basically does a do or die move and says, "Hey, you can protect yourself. You can dodge all my attacks and do whatever, but what about everybody else? They can't do anything." So he erects this giant, like, mass of magic above the capital and basically the surrounding area. And honestly, it makes it look like it's basically around the entire continent. We see water. I don't know whether there's, like, maybe the capital's just really big, but it's at very least over the capital and the surrounding areas. The sister and Asta and Yuno's, like, foster family basically see this happening, and I don't know whether they're exactly under it or whether they could just see the bright light, but it's certainly something that is very hard to miss. This massive magic is basically just a bunch of swords, and they're gonna come raining down on the entire capital, entire area around it, killing all of the people under him. So he's basically being like, listen, again, you can dodge all this, but they can't. So if I can't beat you, I'm just gonna kill everybody around you. Which really says something about Licht. Throughout this entire time that we've known about Licht and had him as an active character, constantly brought up how much he hates humans and how much he resents them because of something that happened in his past, and we've only gotten snippets here and there, and it's clear that like his race of like elves or whatever got killed by maybe a human or multiple humans, and now he has this grudge against humans, so he's willing to kill innocents because somebody else killed his innocents. So in a lot of ways, he's becoming as bad as the people that he said he hates. Now, obviously, none of these people are gonna die. Nothing bad is gonna happen to the citizens of Clover Kingdom because, well, one, Julius is there. He's the Wizard King. He's not gonna let that happen. And two, they're not gonna have a mass genocide suddenly happen and have it just be like, whatever. Like, Asta and Yuno and all the people get back from their mission and they're like, hey guys, we defeated the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Oh. Ugh. So that's just not gonna happen regardless. But how they save all these people is Julius enacts like this basically a time reversal magic thing. So his magic is not necessarily time reversal per se, but he can reverse time, or like it's a weird type of magic. It's time magic. He explained it last time like he was stealing time from other objects or enemies or whatever, and then using it to do various things. This is very much basically, I think he calls it like time reversal or something like that, or turning back the time, and he basically turns back the time. He erases the magic spell that Licht set off, basically just in time, because some people were like inches away from these blades hitting them. One guy was like stunned because he had it like right up against his eye, but the magic swords get taken out, all those lights get just dispersed, and while this is all happening, we actually get a flashback of Julius, and it's as he's like kind of like a little younger, and I think he was like he was a member of like whatever the Azure Deer. I think they're Azure Deer now, but they were something else, Aqua Deer or something. But we get a little bit of a background of like him seeing nobles like put down other people for not being nobles themselves and whatever, and seeing like constantly seeing all these like high end people like crapping on people, on other mages that are not nobles and royalty, just because. And so he's basically looking for a world where this doesn't happen. And then he meets Zara, who was the first commoner to become a magic knight, and also Zora's father. And he kind of gets a little spark in him and is like, hey, listen, this person enacts, like, this person is like what really it means to be a magic knight. So that's what he's trying to create. That's the kind of world he wants to protect. And he sees that in the new generation with like Asta, Yuno, and all of their friends. So it's definitely kind of like a torch passing thing. Like he knows that the world will be okay. And that makes it all the harder to see that as he's saving all these people in the capital, he doesn't have any time to protect himself. So he's used up all of his magic energy, and that's when Licht takes the moment to stab him and run him through with a light sword. And again, I called this without knowing that this was going to happen exactly in this fight. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe he is not going to die at this and he's just really hurt. But I have a feeling that he's going to go down between the backflash of him basically thinking about passing the torch in a sense, him reminiscing about why he became the Wizard King. It's just all lining up, and I do not see him making it out of this fight. I think he's just going to die. It just seemed so obvious given how things were running up here, and I definitely see it being the kind of thing where Asta and everybody, they maybe destroy the Eye of the Midnight Sun's hideout, and they do whatever. I don't know what will happen to Raya, but they do what they went there to do. Maybe they find out something mysterious, but then they come back and Julius is dead, everybody's sad, and it's just not a good scene. And on top of that, Licht now has the final 2 crystals, or like stones or whatever, so their plan is probably going to go off without a hitch unless Asta and Yuno and all of their friends do something about this. The last thing of the episode is Yami showing up, and he is so unbelievably angry. He's angry because Vengeance is a traitor, and it's clear that it's him. Like, he's wearing, even though it's Licht in control of the body, he's still wearing the Golden Dawn's outfit. So it's like, it's clearly Vengeance too. So Yami, who has been his friend for so long, is so pissed. He's getting ready. He's drawing his sword. He's not happy. And we basically just leave it off there. As an episode as a whole, I thought it was really good. We had some backflashes that show basically the motivation of Julius and why he wanted to become the Wizard King. Basically some really good fights again in the sky. We start getting kind of the common folk involved, and now they're seeing this happen, and presumably they will all eventually notice that Julius just got killed or run through and hurt. So it's definitely setting us up for some really depressing time after this. Now, I want to talk about something that has been kind of bugging me for a little while, ever since we saw Licht the first time, or maybe the first time we saw him fight, but it's kind of become more obvious as the show has gone on, especially in this last fight between him and Julius. His light swords look very, very similar in shape to Asta's, like, anti-magic sword, and both of them are basically like the original Wizard King's swords, the ones that he defeated the giant demon with. So I'm wondering if there's a connection between Licht, Asta's grimoire, and magic sword, or anti-magic swords rather, and the Wizard King. I'm sure there is. It just seems too perfect. It's not like, if Licht's swords looked completely different, then I'd be like, okay, whatever. It's just, maybe they both use light magic and it's whatever. But it's very, very similar. And I always thought, oh, hey, the Wizard King's giant light sword looks like Asta's sword. there's probably a connection there at some point. But now I'm seeing lick swords, and they're basically the same. And maybe it's just a style that the mangaka decided, hey, this is what these kind of like light swords look like. But it's very, very similar. And even it's like, Licht has a couple of different swords, they just like whatever, they're flying around. But like there's a couple of different versions, and one is like kind of a broadsword, not a broadsword, a giant sword, and it looks exactly like Asta's like stock anti-magic sword in shape. But then he also used a smaller one that kind of also looked like the smaller anti-magic sword that Asta uses. So there's got to be a connection. That's just me theorizing. That's what I think anyways. But yeah, those are my thoughts overall on this episode. I thought it was really kind of crazy. I'm not surprised that I called what was going to happen with Julius. But I am like kind of hoping that he survives at least this point. I don't know. Maybe he will die essentially later. He definitely has that kind of like third Hokage, old man kind of thing. I mean, he's like in his 40s or something like that, but he's got that like leader thing going on where it's like eventually he's got to step aside so that Asta and Yuno can like go for the Wizard King title. Something's gonna happen to him eventually if he does not die in this instance right here, which it's not looking good. He's bleeding out. But yeah, I was not entirely sure he was gonna die in this instance. We shall see. Overall, I really enjoyed the episode, though. I really, really liked it. I'm really hoping that the next episode is just as hype and it's not just a dip. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys thought down below in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell. That way you'll get all the notifications when I upload. I will see you guys in another video. So long.